Hi Aquarius, this is your astrology for the month of January 2020. I do apologize I'm late getting these readings out, but let's face it, it was the holiday season and I was behind. So now I'm trying to speed up so I can get into February's readings. Now, for you guys, this could be a deep month, and I'm sure last month was a bit of a deep month. Sorry, I'm petting my kitty. And the reason I say that is this is Capricorn season, which places that for Aquariuses, whether you're sun, moon, rising, or a Venus, whatever you're coming for the reading for. And I'm picking up frustration, anger, overwhelmed burdens, anxiety, fear, grief, sorrow, shame, blame, stubborn and inflexible. For some of you, this is about cord cutting because I have old cords that I know have been removed, putting pain on me at the moment. So this would be their way of helping me to understand what that would be about. This is going to have to do with heart, communication, and third eye. This has to do with being you, accepting you as you are. Yeah. Accepting you for who you are, investing in you for who you are, believing in you, trusting in you, and overcoming some of your own self-deceptions and self-undoings. Because I'm feeling like very much of a weight is being lifted. Which means if you are working on yourself properly at this time, you are definitely coming into new personal interests that lead you to inner emotional security and reincarnation. Because you're working through that universal 12th house. Okay, let me back up for a minute. If you are a Venus sign in Aquarius, I'm talking to you mainly about your sensitivities right now. And whether they're positive and negative and how they are serving you. If you are a moon in Aquarius, I'm talking to you on an emotional level, as well as your emotional depths, digging deep into yourself. Believing in yourself, believing in your sacral chakra and your solar plexus. I was being given that directly for if you're a moon Aquarius. If you're an Aquarius in general as a sun Aquarius, we're talking to you about your core energy. And in this, they're speaking to you about listening to your crown and that third eye more than that over communication that actually can condemn you, is what I just heard. That can create self-deception. Because you guys are thinkers, which is a wonderful thing, except for when you try to overthink yourself right out of what it is that you're trying to learn. And we're talking about until the 20th, you're walking through that universal 12th house, which is the skeletons in the closet. And that doesn't always mean it's the things that you don't want people to know about you. It's also the stuff you don't want to know about you. It's where grief, sorrow, shame, blame is hidden. Where you've sacrificed yourself and it didn't serve you. Where your unconscious mind is created ill thinking, bad habits that don't serve you. Is also where you hide that information of prison or government situations from the world. Like I said, your skeleton's in the closet in some form or another. A lot of this has to do with fear. But I feel like it's fear of believing in yourself. I'm trying to double check something. Pride, blame, and fear. And the abundance of it. That's actually working, because that's the Jupiter energy that I'm being given. Pride, fear, and blame in a Jupiter energy that would be working against you, which would be that 12th house of letting go of the frustration. Trying to understand and know everything when it's above your understanding, and because you're trying to understand it is actually keeping you from understanding it. That has to do with faith and just trust in your own higher self. And as you learn to trust in that higher self, you become closer and one with that higher self. But the more you question and fight and need those answers, actually, the more you don't get them, which causes self-deception. You are being given promptings from the higher self of actions to take, and it's not something for you to think about, it's something for you to do, is what they say. But blame and bitterness, burden and overwhelmed energy of thinking you have to be perfect will cause the fear of being able to actually overcome that. And you have to learn to release that, is what I'm being told. That's part of the energies. And definitely cleansing. This is meant to be a cleansing for you, because I'm getting vinegar. And for me, vinegar speaks of cleansing. Whether it's saging, whether it's, taking ritual baths, whatever it is that's bringing the cleansing forward. This is a cleansing of that 12th house and all of that hidden deception, hidden self. Even where you may be ashamed of releasing that energy. I don't mean ashamed of releasing energy. I mean energies that may have made you ashamed of who and what you are, or standing in your power, or doubting, or questioning, or not believing in your self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, that's kept you from finding how to truly be liberated within your soul. And that connection of that higher self, bringing that into a true union. There's things here of betrayal. There's things here of, anxieties, doubts, worries, fears. Not trusting or believing in yourself. Sacral chakra, low sacral chakra of believing in yourself and your creative expression. All of this is parts of healing that is meant to help illuminate you and help you find your fate, your purpose. But this is definitely a moment of healing so that you can get on the true, healthiest, right track for you. And you're going to be feeling most of this energy prior to the 20th, when the sun enters Aquarius, and then it becomes Aquarius season. But until then, technically, you're in that 12th house. And depending on when your birth date is, you're also in that 12th house. Because technically on the birth date is always your resurrection, your reborn date. And that's where you're reborn and the self-awareness starts again, and you come back into your core power and you restart the cycle. But each time you restart the cycle, it's a chance of, are you doing the same cycle again because you did not learn? Or are you actually getting past what was in that 12th house and maturing and growing? With that being said, let's jump into the astrology. Now, on the 3rd, I like to just run down what the planets mainly have done. On the 3rd of the month, you had Mars move into Sagittarius. You have the full moon and the lunar eclipse that's going to take place on the 10th. You also have Uranus, which will go direct on the 10th, and I'm getting the vinegar again. So this is speaking to you about a cleansing of coming into your own independence and freedom. An inventive self, strengthening who you are from the inside out so that you can truly be reborn and find freedom within that. Then you have Venus is moving into Pisces on the 13th. You have Mercury, which is moving into Aquarius on the 16th. Pallas is moving into Capricorn on the 18th. Technically, you're reborn and it becomes Aquarius season on the 20th. But then we jump right backwards and we go into the new moon, which will recap the entire eclipse season in Capricorn on the 24th. Now, with that being said, as I get into the astrology, if there is not anything in the house, we're going to skip the house. Simply that because that means there's nothing there influencing it. So you're just in your energy anyway. So you're in your typical normal energy anyway. So there's nothing here influencing it and there's nothing talking to it. But otherwise, we're going to communicate and speak about what's going on in these houses. Now, like I said, until Mercury and the sun moves in on the 20th to Aquarius, you don't have anything in your first house. At that time, you're reborn and you start reassessing your self-awareness, your personality, your personal appearance, your view, your identification, your core image. And this is all coming from what you learned from that 12th house. So this is a new communication that is both inward and outward and illuminating who you are, but not until you've cleared that 12th house between the 16th and the 20th, technically. And then if you're born after the 20th, you may not actually clear that 12th house until your birthday. Now, bringing communication into, I don't want to say word vomit. I want to say more of a heightened sensitivity. Because your very core personality, your appearance, you may be spitting out a little bit more of the fireworks than you normally do, because communication will be moving in on the 16th. So where you may have been keeping to yourself and trying to bring healing, after the 16th, you're ready to spit that stuff out and start making these changes and communicate the changes that you are trying to make, as well as make sure that others are seeing the changes that you are trying to make, because this is communication in general coming into your actual sign. Now, well, I made this thing too big. Now, your second house is Pisces. This is where your self-worth, self-value, self-esteem is. You have Neptune here, and you have Venus here after the 13th, right after the lunar eclipse. This is your self-worth, self-value, self-esteem. But Neptune and Pisces kind of means you really want to believe in people, even when maybe you shouldn't. And you may have learned this by now, because Pisces energy is very easily to be taken advantage of. And when we're talking about your self-worth, self-value, and self-esteem, that means you could have easily been stepped on by others in the past, because you give that power to them and you don't mean to. So right now you're learning to shape shift, how to not only reclaim your power, but hold it and gain it and strengthen it within your self-worth, self-value, self-esteem. But this is also your money house. So you're creatively able to spend magic on that self-worth, self-value, and self-esteem. But Venus coming in on the 13th is going to be also speaking to you about where you're sensitive about that self-worth, self-value, and self-esteem. Where you're sensitive about feeling secure, about being liberated. And it's going to push buttons because it's trying to help you learn how to stand in your power by making you face these parts of yourself that are uncomfortable. And if you are facing them, then you're going to be rewarded. Also in the money house, because you're strengthening your liberation, which strengthens your abundance of being able to bring financial abundance to you with self-value. So in one form, they work together, and in another form, they work against you. It all depends on where you take that. That's that free will choice to believe in yourself and to trust in yourself and to honestly step into your higher self and start becoming a union with it on a stronger level. Investing in the very security of that higher self and what that brings to you in this third dimensional world. And Lilith is also here asking you, how are you investing in you? How are you burning for you? Because Lilith is egotistical, but she is also a very strong ally in helping you soulfully burn for yourself. Where are you burning for yourself, for your own self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, for your own liberation? Where are you strengthening yourself and standing in that power? And are you doing it or not? Even though you're going to be tested with some sensitive issues, it's going to make you question yourself. But by questioning yourself, you're strengthening yourself. Not questioning yourself. I don't want to say questioning, but overcoming those fears that might be picked at, so to speak. And trust in that. Trust in your own liberation by trusting in that higher self. Now, as you enter the third house for you, this is Aries. This is your communication zone. You also have Chiron here, and Chiron is very close to Lilith, even though Lilith is in that second house. Chiron is in your third house. This is your communication zone. This is learning how to overcome the way that you learn. Not that the way that you learn is wrong, but being so detail-oriented, so intellectually trivial pursuit of the higher understanding. This is going, I can't just listen to A, B, and C and take that. No, I've got to cipher that all into A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. To where you kind of lost the whole subject because you've gone so deeply into it. This is communication teaching you a new way of communication, because Chiron is here and he's the wounded healer, saying where it's been overkill. Where it's been overkill in the intellect, in the details, in the trivia, in the message system, as well as those phone calls, gossip, actual bits of information. But this is also dealing with your siblings because it's close to you in short journeys as well. But for the most part, this is your communication house. And in this communication house, like I said, you have Chiron, which has been having a little bit of a conversation with Lilith about understanding that fire that burns within you and trusting that fire that burns within you instead of having to question every single bit of that soulfulness. Chiron is helping to influence this energy that Lilith is pushing from that second house into that third. From that self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, burning for you, your own fire, believing in it, trusting in it, and pushing that into the communication so that you can truthfully listen to your own intellect, details, communication, ideas. And you can listen to the higher self and trust in it without having to so overanalyze it that you go into overkill. This is part of that communication that is being taught to you at this time. Now, your fourth house is Taurus. This is your inner emotional security. This is the home, material world, the home, and who and what takes place in the home. But this is also your inner child, and where your inner child found its personal foundation, where its roots came from, where the inner emotional security was created or destroyed from the beginning. Going back to the roots and getting deep with the true, real self. This is where the karmic lessons are learned so reincarnation can be made. Okay? In this area, this is Taurus for you. You just want to find your own heaven on earth so that you can believe in your own inner emotional security. But Taurus has had Uranus in retrograde and the soul fire, which has been in over communication to only you about your freedom, your self-worth, your self-value, your self-esteem, and your freedom, your independence, your individuality, your new uniqueness, your inventive self. And this is inventing a new personal foundation for the inner child to find inner emotional security that is true and has depth and lasts, to be able to strengthen who you truly are from the roots by self-believing in yourself, by inventing yourself again, by bringing the independence of you up and out. And that helps strengthen your very communication with your self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, and the very core of who and what you are. As well as Vista is the soul fire, asking you again, when are you going to believe in your soul's fire? Like I said, the third dimensional world is where our child was created and the personal foundations and roots began, but our souls began so much further beyond that. And this is asking us to get right with the soul's fire that is eternal and get right with that true self-power and bringing back that inner emotional security so that the reincarnation and the communication can truly start to become union with that higher self. Now, you don't have anything going on in the fifth house, but you do have energies going on in the sixth. The sixth house for you is your everyday daily tasks. It is your daily work, your daily health, your daily diet. It is your daily ability to work, your hygiene. But it is also your work. It is your daily tasks. It is your volunteer work. It is your everyday mundane tasks. And I say this is where your eclipse is taking place on the 10th in Cancer. You very much nurture this energy. This is also a very much of a mothering energy. You nurture it and you want to support it and you want to watch these everyday daily tasks grow into something that is healthy. But with you having the North Node here, it's saying there's something that you need to learn about these routines that you create in your life that you're not learning, but that you need to learn in order for all of your life and your relationships and your self-value to strengthen. Because those daily mundane tasks are not mundane. From the time you get up and you brush your teeth to when you eat your breakfast, you go to work, you get off work, you go out to dinner. Some people go to a bar. Some people go to a gym. You know, it depends. What are your routines? Are these routines supportive for you? I always say these daily mundane tasks and routines aren't mundane because there's people, places, and things of energy that you consume in these daily routines. And if these people, places, and things of these routines are not healthy and supportive for your relationships and your self-value and your inner emotional security, then they're the wrong routines. And then that means the people, places, and things in these routines need to change. There's something here that's saying you need to learn how to shift this just right to help you, whether it's your diet, your health care, your physical appearance, maybe it's the gym, you know, I don't know. But it may be your working environment and the people that you are surround yourself with. But there's something about these people, places, and things of your daily routines that need to shift because you need to learn how to support yourself in a healthy routine that you actually consume on a daily basis, because that is the support that creates you in the long run. And this is where the lunar eclipse is taking place for you. But that means it's directly across from your 12th house. There's parts in this, in your 12th house. Meaning that lunar eclipse, that solar eclipse on Christmas, the day after Christmas, was dealing with your skeletons in the closet, your grief, sorrow, shame, your burdens, your bitterness, your blame, your inflexibility, your hidden deception, your bad mental talk to yourself, your secrets and skeletons in the closet. Because it's going to come back around on the 24th to there being a new moon in Capricorn, which we will be out of Capricorn season, but that doesn't mean you will be, unless you were born before the 24th. So you may be coming into a new moon right still in that 12th house, dealing with those self-deceptions, dealing with those fears, anxieties, doubts, dealing with your skeletons in the closet, dealing with your grief, sorrow, shame, your pride, your blame. What you may be ashamed of. This is bringing healing to these energies that are bouncing right back into going, well, what are you doing in your daily routines that support the healing of these energies, of your skeletons in the closet, of your self-deception, of your bad talk to yourself? You're going to see that energy come full circle as you go from Christmas, the day after Christmas, to the lunar eclipse on the 10th, and then all the way back around to the 24th, where it's giving you the opportunity for new healing to start to truly take place. If it hasn't already, come that new moon to set new directions. So this is asking you to stop imprisoning yourself in your 12th house and start making true soulful union healing with that higher self. And if not, then you're going to find this reoccur in June and July. because it will be taking place again in June and July, but we won't actually be walking through that 12th house then. But that won't mean the 12th house won't still be there for you, or these daily routines. So this is asking you over this time to start setting it right. So by the time we come to that next group of eclipses, you're going in the right direction. Then we come to the 9th house. That is your higher self, and it's in Libra. Libra wants nothing more than balance and justice. In the higher self, 90% of time, Libra shows us where we're out of balance, where we're out of whack, and where justice isn't being made. It's the scales. For you, that higher self is asking you, where are ethics, morals, spiritual truths being questioned? Because you're listening to other people's views instead of your own. This is asking you where you're not listening to the higher self because you're still believing in the third dimensional world and what other people have told you, or what you've been taught about religion and philosophy. This is asking you to let go of that shit. This is asking you to have some commitment to your higher self. Commitment to your higher self and what your higher self is trying to teach you about truthful spiritual urges, spiritual psychic energy, spiritual intuition, spiritual ethics and morals, spiritual truths, spiritual wisdom. And to stop balancing what really isn't right, what really isn't working.